TFA fam, what is going on? Writing solo here for the beginning of the show. Kev, it will be joining me here shortly. Had to make a little errand, late night errand out there in KC. So I'm going to go ahead and get started so we do not fall super far behind, and also so you guys aren't waiting much longer. We're supposed to start at 10:15. It's 10:40. I apologize, but we are here. It's week 8. Hope everybody had a good week leading up to this. Let's go ahead and get started with Brew Neal. What's up, guys? Having a hard time deciding which 3 wide receivers I should start. Olave, Higgins, Downs, Rice, Dell. Full PPR league. Which 3? I see the problem. Definitely Olave. I'm going to trust Higgins coming off of the bye week. I like all 3 of those receivers. I really do. I would go Downs here, though. He is the one who's getting the full-time snaps and routes over somebody like Rice. I really like both of those guys as well. But with Downs, like I said, he is up to a 22% target share with Gardner Minshew under center, and the Saints are giving up a ton of production to slot receivers, and that's how you attack them. I think this is going to be a bigger day for Josh Downs than it is for Michael Pittman. But I do really like those other options there. Just feel a little bit better about Downs, and I like his matchup. Not good at fantasy. I hope you're feeling better, Cody. I am. Appreciate you. Should I trade B-Rob McLaurin for Nico in an 8-man? Be my wide receiver 3 behind CD and Higgins. McLaurin doing well, but is his play sustainable? It's so crazy that you ask, is his play sustainable? And I think he's had like 1 wide receiver 1 finish all year and like 2 wide receiver 2s in PPR leagues. I saw your next comment about no other pieces being added to this trade. If he won't do anything else, as long as you're going to be fine at running back, not that, and I'm assuming that's Brian Robinson. If this is Bijan, we're not doing that. If that is Brian Robinson and you can't get anything else added on top, I would go ahead and do it as long as you're going to be okay at, sorry, do not talk about my Facebook. As long as you're going to be okay at running back, I would go ahead and do it. I do want Nico over McLaurin rest of season. I think McLaurin is the better wide receiver, but CJ Stroud is the much better quarterback. And I like what I have seen from him so far. And there really hasn't been any questions. Like, there's been a couple of down weeks for Nico, but he's been like the guy. There's been some shuffling behind him, whether it's Tank Dell, Robert Woods at the beginning of the year, Dalton Schultz. But if you can't get anything else, I would go ahead and do that. And then I can pick up Watson, DeMarcado, Javonte, Dell, Palmer, Deontay. If you need running back help, I would definitely pick up Javonte. Really like how he looked in that last game. I think he looked as explosive as he has all year. If you don't need running back help, man, I'd probably pick up Watson just as like a boom bust type option. But Dell is really intriguing as well. So Javonte, if you need the running back help, if you need someone you can feel better about plugging in, I think I'd actually go with Dell over Watson. Jordan Love has been #bad after it was looking like he was going to be a better quarterback to start the season. So I would pick up Dell over Watson. Favorite defense this week: Cleveland, Seattle, Atlanta, Jacksonville, Pitt, or Houston. Man, I have not done my sorry. I have not done my defensive rankings this week. Don't really love Jacksonville or Pittsburgh. Just not. I think there could be some sacks on the Pittsburgh side, but like, I don't know. I know Jacksonville's been playing better, but like, they haven't really, haven't really impressed me with anything that they have been doing. 1 second, sorry, trying to Trying to pull up some rankings and look at some things right here. I know Cleveland got lit up by Indy of all teams. What are the other options here? Atlanta. I think I would still go Cleveland here. Not a huge fan of the matchup, but I think they bounce back here against Seattle. That Seattle offense hasn't really been firing on all cylinders as it was last year. So I would go ahead with Cleveland. They're Atlanta obviously makes a little bit of sense with Tennessee with Tannehill being out and then getting some mix of Levis and Malik Willis, which does not sound like a fun time if I am a Tennessee Titans fan. But Atlanta hasn't really done a ton either. Like they obviously have a nice secondary, but I don't know how often Tennessee is going to be throwing the ball. And I don't know. I think this just ends up being a really slow, boring game. And I'm not sure there's going to be a ton of opportunity for turnovers there. So I would go Cleveland. Oh, there he is. Hey, buddy.
What's up?
Get
Little
everything you
defense
needed.
question.
Get a Slim Jim at the gas station. When was the last time you had a Slim Jim?
It's been a while. I think it's been a while since I've had a Slim Jim.
Yeah.
On that last one, the defense question, I would go Seattle there, just for the record.
Okay.
I have them as the DST 5 on the week.
All right. Kev just out here grinding the defense rankings. Good for you. Michael, pick 3: Ridley, Flowers, Addison, or Wilson in a PPR. It's gonna be the first 3 for me. Ridley has been super, 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 super duper frustrating.
So for me, it would be Flowers for sure. I have Flowers at wide receiver 14. Addison, I have at wide receiver 16, and then I
So
have
you can't have Addison too far behind.
And I have Wilson at wide receiver 18. I have Calvin Ridley at wide receiver 37. Something to note with this game or with this is the Steelers play man coverage at a top 5 rate in the league, and Calvin Ridley has been really bad against zone coverage. He's actually he is 52nd in fantasy points per route run against man coverage this year. So I'm not all that excited about Calvin Ridley. And I'm sure
Well, we
y'all
agree on Flowers and Addison for sure. I'm high on both of those this week as well. Waller or Laporta? It's gonna be Laporta for me.
Yeah.
Waller and hamstring issues just
you can look to trade one of those guys, you know?
give me the heebie-jeebies. Yeah,
Especially I think I would look to trade Waller if I was going to trade one of them.
100%. Hendo or Roshan if he plays?
This is going to be Daryl Henderson.
It's gonna be Henderson for me as
I mean,
well.
fun fact for Daryl Henderson last week was he was only one of 5 players to have 42% of the team total teams touches last week. So, and
Yes.
Roshan is playing. He's off the injury report, so he's playing.
I thought I saw that, but I wasn't sure, so I didn't want to say anything. Shelton, Rasheed or Pickens?
Pickens. I got Pickens as a top 18 wide receiver this week.
Ooh. Fuego. No bye weeks and Pickens a top 18. Let's go. TFA fan, what's up, fellas? What's going on? Isaac. Traded Stroud for Deontay to PPR. Like it. Purple Yoda. Like that. Ridley or Watson? Sounds like it's going to be Watson for you. Unless you have Watson below wide receiver 37?
It is going to be Watson.
Is it where do you have Watson? Is it close?
It is close. I have him at wide receiver 33.
I would bang my head into a wall with Ridley, but that's just me. Andrea, hello. Jose, yesterday my team was Shroud Hall, ETN, Cup, Chase, Barkley, and Goddard. Bench was Fields, Monty, JT, Watson, Olave, and Jefferson and Achan on the IR. Traded Monty for Tua, Godwin, and Ford. Is that a dub?
So I mean, this doesn't look like a super flex. So if it's not, I don't. You don't need three quarterbacks. I don't really wish wasn't excited about that. Really? And then, I mean, Godwin, I know Godwin's coming off his best game of the year, but he's been so hit or miss. And then Ford, I think, is fine. But I mean, Monty, when he's healthy, I mean, he's been really a top 12 running back this year, right? And those guys are harder to find. I mean, Ford's been fine, and actually, it sounds like he may actually play this week, which is wild because it didn't sound like that's what it was going to be. But
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, he was able to return to practice. But the thing that scares you about that is him really messing something up and it turning into something much worse. I think they'd have been better off just sitting him this week, which is still possible. He's questionable, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it makes a whole lot of sense to run him out there this week. But um, it's not bad. I think it's fine. I feel like that's like a little bit of you traded low. I guess put it that way.
Yeah. I think it was trading a little bit low with Monty being obviously banged up right now. Um, but this also looks like Brees Hall is healthy, ETN stays healthy, Barkley's healthy. Like Monty probably wasn't making it into that lineup, all that often. Now with me getting two of though, and this looks like obviously an eight. Oh, and then JT on the bench as well. This obviously looks like an 8-team league type of like a short league. So I would, if you're trading for Tua, I'm just dropping Shroud and Fields. I'm not waiting around for Fields anymore. I don't want to roster two of those guys and then go out and see what's on available on waivers. There's no reason to trade for Tua and then to hold on to an extra quarterback. Not bad, but I think you sold a little bit low. But at the same time, I get it. Like Monty's probably not cracking that lineup all that often. Andrea, need two here out of B-Rob, Pacheco, Mostert, and Stevenson in a PPR.
Pacheco and Mostert.
I'm with you. Rice or Downs?
It's going to be Rice for me. Though I do really like Josh Downs this week because you really want to. The way you attack the Saints is in the middle of the field. Alontae Taylor has really struggled this year as your corner or their nickel corner. So he's going to be seeing a lot of him because Josh Downs plays primarily from the slot. But I still like Rice. We're continually seeing him trend up. And so I like him. He is somebody that they do move into the slot quite a bit as well. Kind of plays a little bit of that Juju Smith-Schuster role from last year. So he's not going to be saying it's not like he's going to see shadow coverage from Patrick Surtain or anything like that. So we're not worried about that.
Yeah, I would go. Sorry, I was trying to pull up the slot yards allowed, and Alontae Taylor is allowing the most yards while in slot coverage at 289. Trey Herndon second for the Jags at 270. I would go. I would go Downs here. Just really like his spot. Yeah, I know Rice has been trending up. Like I just want him to get there, and then we can put it to rest. But I think it was up to what, like 70 plus route participation last week, I
Yeah.
believe. So he's getting there, but Downs' spot is really nice this week. Lawrence or Shroud?
Well, CJ Stroud.
I am as well. Who would have thought? Olave or Smitty? This is going to be Olave for me.
Yes, I agree.
Jose. So now we need to help with start sits here for this Tua team. Half PPR. So we have Hall, ETN, Barkley, JT at running back. I think I would keep that as is. Then Cup Chase. Got Watson Olave. I like Olave this week, but I'm probably not playing him in a half PPR over a running back. And then it does not look like you have another tight end. So I would keep that as is.
Yep.
Good luck, Jose. Let's get to 500 this week. Deontay, Watson, G. Willie, or Goddard. Need 3 in a PPR. Picked up Kincaid, started him. Nice. Kincaid. I like that.
Yes, he was very, very good yesterday.
Started him in Scott Fishbowl. That was nice with the 2 points per reception. I'd probably say Goddard here. Go Deontay, Watson, and Wilson.
Yeah, I agree.
Ferguson or Schultz.
It's gonna be Ferguson.
I'm gonna go Schultz with Robert Woods out. But they're both like in that same tier for me. So whichever way you go, Andrea, I don't think you will be wrong. Emilio, need a flex, Javante, Mostert, Watson, or Wilson.
Mostert.
Mostert for me as well. Michael Gill, Hurts, or Tua.
Hurts all day.
2 running backs and 1 flex. Javante, Ford, Hunt, DeMercado, Henderson, Hubbard, Laporta, and Rice.
I don't think I'm going to mess with Jerome Ford with this injury and everything else. It just worries me. The other running backs you have, anyways, and so I'm going to go with Javante and Henderson,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm going to flex Rice.
Who would have thought we would have been here deciding between Laporta and Rasheed Rice? Oh, man. I mean, Denver's defense has been playing better as of late, but I still don't think that they're very good. The Raiders are obviously fucking trash. Man, they both have 27 point team implied point totals. Golly. This is really close. For me, was not expecting this, not expecting to get this question tonight. Man. I'm gonna go Laporta, but I like Rice as well. Like that one's really close to me. I had a hard time for that. Probably letting my bias slide in a little bit, but top 10, their top 5 tight end does not seem like a hot take anymore. JR, have Fields and Purdy at QB. Who do I pick up? Seems like Purdy is going to be able to play. So I don't know. You're going to have to worry about this, JR. Looks like he is 1 practice away from clearing the protocol, and it seems like there is good signs around him that will be the case. If you have to pick up somebody, probably go Dak here.
So here's the thing. I'm playing Dak over Purdy anyway. Like, I have Dak as a top 10 quarterback this week. I have Purdy even if he plays at QB 14, and so um, I would just pick up Dak. And by the way, it's wild because Purdy is the first player all year of all the players who've had a concussion that has been able to play the same week that he picked it up.
Yeah. What was it? Did they ever actually say that he had a actual like? Was he ever diagnosed? I know he was reporting symptoms.
Yeah. Well, they showed the play that likely had happened on him. The motherfucker, he got lit up. So, like, I mean, because it was I think when they did the old tush push, and I mean, he got
Uh,
annihilated. But but yeah, I mean, they said he was showing he was showing symptoms, felt symptoms, and then they put him in the protocol. But he's the first guy that's cleared. Everybody else has missed at least the next week. So
yep.
hopefully this he doesn't get another bad hit.
Last fish over on Twitch. Thank you for the Seattle pick last week. Lots of upsets. Buffalo's half the field eliminate. Wow. Was that from you and Maddie? I don't remember picking Seattle last week. Did you and Maddie go over that one on like the Sunday show or something? I don't remember having that one.
I don't remember. I don't think so, but I don't remember. I can't remember.
Who do I start at wide receiver? Rice, Olave, Brown.
Rice.
I would go Olave here.
Or
And I'm assuming that.
yeah, no, you're 100%. See, it's good
Okay.
that two people are on here. You're right. Yeah, Olave. I don't know what I was thinking. Yes, I
I'm
have Olave
assuming
as a
that's
top 15.
I'm assuming that's Marquise and not AJ.
Yeah, I'd assume. But yeah, you're right. That's Chris Olave all day.
Okay. It's like, man, Kev. I wonder where does Kev have Rice this week?
No, yeah, no, that's yeah.
Okay. Also, running back Sanders or Bijan. Ugh.
Assuming that's Miles
Barf.
Sanders.
Yeah.
Miles Sanders. Yeah, I'm not playing. I'm done with Miles Sanders. Like I think this is Chuba Hubbard's backfield now. Like, and it should be. He's been and the comments that were made by Frank Reich this week really indicated that it's going to be Chuba Hubbard, and so it's Bijan. I mean, even without that, it's Bijan. Like even if he was a starter, it's still Bijan. I know we had the little thing that happened last week with the headaches and all that stuff, and he didn't play, and and barely played and all that stuff, and burned a lot of people. I have him lower this week. I have him as a RB2, but it's not because of that. It's because of the matchup is not good for him at all. And so, but the way he can get there, which we've seen with other running backs, is through the air, and he still sees a really strong target share. It's just I don't expect him to do a ton on the ground against Tennessee. But Bijan Robinson still is in a good spot, or he's still somebody that I'm definitely going to play. I mean, I'd be hard pressed to. There has to be only 12 other running backs that I'd play ahead of him. I have him at RB13.
Sorry, I saw Michael's comment about Frank Clark signing with Seattle, so I went to look it up, and then I had a text from my wife. Keep in mind, my soon-to-be 5-year-old is still awake, and apparently he asked my wife, "How do you get farts?" So I've just been sitting here cracking up at that because I am a 13-year-old boy. I think I mean, I don't really have an answer for that. So, like, how do you get farts? I don't know. It just that would have been you know what, bud? Just happens. I don't really know.
Let him rip.
You just gotta let it go. I think the Frank Reich comments were taking like a little were blown out of proportion a little bit because it's still been a committee the entire year, right? Like we haven't really seen Sanders be like the dude. Like Hubbard has been involved a little bit. I think it could become closer than what it was. I think there could be games where we see Hubbard, like the quote unquote hot hand approach. It would be Bijan for me, by the way, also. But I just think those comments were taken like a little too far. I think it's going to be closer to a 50-50, but I don't think Hubbard's going to be like the dude. I think we end up seeing like a 60-40 type of split between both of them back and forth all year. The fat servant. DJ Moore or JT at the flex?
JT.
Going JT as well. Gerald, Carr, Love, or Minshew?
Oh boy. It's gonna be Derek Carr.
I'm going to go Carr as well. Raylan, appreciate you rocking with us. Raylan, good to see you. Needs start two: Pittman, Higgins, Jones, Nico, Ramondre, or Garrett Wilson in a PPR. This is going to be Higgins and Nico for me.
Higgins and Nico, yes.
Boom. I did not see this. Has this been confirmed?
It has,
He's
yeah.
not going back to
They do not
KC.
become a set a set and forget defense. Like Frank Clark is 30 some years old and he's 30 and he's not that guy. Like he's not like just changes their defense. Like there was a lot of thought that he was going to sign with the Chiefs and he would like the Chiefs were trying to get him, just wanted him to sign to the practice squad as what they were as what they were wanting. And so
Wow.
but the Chiefs also have like 6 pass rushers. But he just would have been a rotational piece. Like he's not somebody that's going to come out and just rack up all these sacks or anything like that. He helps, but they also the only reason he got signed was because of the injury that they had and lost money for the rest of the year. And so that's the only reason they brought him in. But like he's certainly not that. Like he's not like it's not like they just signed Joey Bosa or something like that, like off the street. Like, so they're just matchup. Like, so for me, it's just a good matchup against Cleveland. Watson's out. If they can get ahead, they're going to force them to throw. PJ Walker is not great. Will definitely make some bad decisions. And so that's why I have Seattle where they're at. But their schedule is about to flip, and then you'll just drop them because their schedule for rest of season is brutal. It's not good. And that's one of the reasons why I am such a proponent of trying to do whatever you can to trade Kenneth Walker because his schedule is terrible. Like he has the worst remaining schedule for running backs rest of season. And so, but yes, no, Seattle's not a set and forget. Like that would be like actually, I don't think there is one. To be honest with you, like Philadelphia has been fantastic, has been really good this year. They're a top 10 defense this year, and I just dropped them last week because their defense. I'm just going off schedule, and if you look at the remaining schedule, like it starts getting real tough after this Washington week. It's gonna get much tougher. So I mean, I think I'm just a big proponent of streaming. I don't think there is a set it and forget it defense.
I think even though Cleveland just got lit up, I feel like if I had Cleveland in a league, like I wouldn't bother looking at waivers. Like I feel like that'd probably be one of them.
Yeah, I mean, if you have Seattle, or if you have someone like Cleveland, or if you had the Ravens, and if depending on who's sitting out there, if people hoard defense or something like that in your league, then fine. Like if you want to hold on to one of them, I'm fine with that. But I'm much more of a proponent of just playing matchups on a week to week basis and moving forward from there.
Reynaldo, pick two: Watson, Palmer, Downs, Dell, Rice.
Palmer and I think it's going to be Tank Dell, but let me look.
I'm gonna go Downs and Rice on this one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Rice. Sorry, I was looking at my rankings to see where I had him. Yeah.
So you have Palmer and Rice.
I have Palmer and Rice. Yes,
Okay.
Palmer and Rice.
Yeah, I like Downs a lot this week, so it's gonna be Downs and Rice for me. Raylan, appreciate you as always doing our work for us. If you guys have yet to do so, please do as Raylan is imploring you to do here in all caps. Like the stream, and if you have yet to subscribe, please hit that little subscribe button as well. Just passed 5K not long ago, so we are onward and upward to the next one. Appreciate all you for rocking with us. Last Fish over on Twitch. So far, views San Fran, Lions, Buffalo, Seattle. Thoughts on Miami, Baltimore, or KC?
I think you just keep rolling Arizona, right? Just go Baltimore. I mean,
Yeah, I'd probably.
the Chiefs have beat the Chiefs have beat the Broncos. I think it's 17 times in a row, 16 times in a row. And they're actually 44-6 against the division since 2014, so that's pretty good. But how do they save Kansas City?
Yeah, I would go Baltimore as well. I'm with you. My goodness. DJ Moore or oh, I think we got that one already, right? Those were different.
That's
Oh, that was over on Twitch. That's what it was from. My goodness. Miami or Atlanta for Gerald.
um, Miami or Atlanta. I'm gonna go Falcons. Give me, give me Will Levis out there trying to sling the rock.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Falcons as well. It's close though. I do like Miami because if Mac Jones reverting to the pumpkin that he is, that could also spell good things for Miami. They've been playing better as of late. They've been having a more success with their pass rush, which they struggled with at the beginning of the year. Anyway, another defense question here. This one from Reynaldo: Chargers or Lions?
Very close one for me there. I have the Chargers at 7 and Lions at 8. I'm gonna go Chargers.
Chargers. Yep. Do you like the Chargers over Ball? I think I would go Chargers here and save Baltimore.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you would think, right? I mean, the Chargers, I believe they're at home on
They're at
Monday Night
home.
Football. No Justin Fields. Like, it all makes sense. But the Chargers are still 2-4 and have found amazing ways to lose football games this year. So, like, it's a risky play. Like, I get it. They should win. They should easily win that game. But I don't know.
I also feel like because of that, you're never going to feel better about starting the Chargers either, or using the Chargers, right? So I feel like this would be.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll be honest.
it's
It
not a bad
doesn't.
call. Like, if you want to, like, 100%, you're probably right, right? Like, when is going to be the next time that you're like, yeah, fire up the Chargers?
So I would go Chargers there. Fish. Raylan, who should I stash? Bourne, Spears, Akers, or Singletary?
There is one correct answer here, and it is the second one.
Yeah, it was either Spears or Akers for sure.
Especially with the trade deadline coming up, and if Derrick Henry does get traded, there seems to be a lot of smoke around that, which wouldn't surprise me, right? Because it's the last year of his deal. Titans aren't going anywhere. There's no real reason for them to hold on to him at this point. Blow it up, get something for him before he leaves, because you're probably not bringing a 30-plus-year-old running back. And so, yes, I think there's a real likelihood that you see Derrick Henry leave. And so I want Spears on my roster before that happens.
Yeah, it's definitely between Spears and Akers. I get what you're saying about Spears. What makes me, I don't know, I think like maybe slightly lean Akers is just because I would rather invest in the Minnesota offense. But Spears, I think, has shown that he has a little more juice in his tank at this point, even with no ACL, apparently. Um, I would slightly lean Akers, but it's definitely between those two for sure.
He's like Jay Ajayi. Jay Ajayi didn't have ACL, if I remember correct, either.
I think you're right. Jay Ajayi. I use him on that immaculate grid every once in a while, and it always makes me smile. Chris Real need a flex option for PPR. Downs, Watson, or Higgins.
I'm going to Higgins.
Gonna be Higgins for me as well. Downs would be second, and then Watson would be last. Luis, Jacobs, Olave, or Higgins. I'm gonna go Olave here. It's between Olave or Jacobs for me. I lean
Yes, it's so tough with Jacobs, right? Because one, it's a really bad matchup against the
Not a great
Lions. The
matchup.
Lions' run defense is excellent, but he does see a really strong target share, and his touch volume is so high. Now, I will say, last week his snap share dropped down to 68%, which is by far the lowest he's seen all year. So I don't know if they're throttling back. I mean, who knows what Josh McDaniels is ever doing, right? So, I think I would. I think I would just go Chris Olave. It's really hard though to sit Josh Jacobs because of the volume that he sees.
Yeah. 13th Apex, Mingo or Bigsby rest of season. I would go Bigsby here.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think I mean Mingo means nothing to me. Like I don't, like he's not something that I have on my radar that like I think at some point is going to break out. It just doesn't feel that way. So we're getting into November, and once you hit November, that's when I really want to start like getting all the handcuffs on my roster for the playoff run. And if you have ETN at this point, I would want the backup because I feel like if something were to happen and ETN went down, I mean Bigsby would see a pretty sizable share of this offense. So, and he's one of the guys because like there's situations where we just don't know what's gonna like. For example, like the Rams situation where Kyron Williams and Ronnie Rivers goes down, and I think everybody just assumed that it was going to be Zach Evans. Well, not so fast, my friend. They went and brought in all these other running backs, and he never even was a nothing. So, but this is one of those situations where he's one of those handcuffs that I want because he is an easy option that you feel pretty confident that that's going to be the guy they're going to go with. So it's Bigsby for me.
Yeah. Kev, since you have your defensive rankings, who are the four teams above Seattle?
So Philadelphia, Baltimore, the Jets, and the Chiefs.
There you have it. Mike, Deontay or Michael Thomas? Full PPR.
Deontay.
Golly.
I think it's close. But it's good. It's good matchups for both of them because the Jaguars secondary has been really bad this year, and so that's why I like. But really, I like. I mean, I like both the Pittsburgh wide receivers. I just like Pickens more this week, but mainly because Pickens is seeing a lot of the deep targets, and he's also starting to see a more. They're actually using him on more than just go routes. So Matt Canada's learning. I guess it takes him a long time, but he starts to learn a little bit. So
These are both really close. I would lean Michael Thomas just because I think that there is a better chance of that game like breaking out. Like we've seen like all these indie games just basically go crazy all year long. I think there's a better chance of that one hitting the over versus the Steelers. Like I think that one could just be like a slow kind of gross game. So I would lean Michael Thomas. Kev, speaking of the Steelers wide receivers, which one is the wide receiver one going forward?
I think, like I said, it's George Pickens for me. Kind of saw a little bit last week, but if he's going to be the guy who does see the deep targets, which is the high value that you want, as on top of the fact that he's still seeing a strong target share, I think he's the wide receiver one.
I think if you're swinging for upside, it's Pickens. I think Deontay is going to have the safer floor going forward. So I think it's just kind of like I don't know. The target tree is going to be going to have basically two branches on that tree, right? It's going to be Deontay and Pickens. Like there's really nothing else that you're super excited about in that Steelers offense. So I think it's just kind of what you want for your team. Chargers feel like it's a trap, more trick than a treat. Absolutely could be for sure. Like I said, I don't feel I don't say picking the Chargers and like feel great about saying to pick the Chargers, but at the same time, I do feel like they have to get it done, right? Like they can't lose the Tyson Bagent, can they?
Hey man, Teabag
And
is he's 1-0 as a starter.
J20. Sup, fellas? One in a standard. Mixon, Madison, Roshan, Hendo, Ford, Sanders, Collins.
It's gonna be Mixon.
I'm gonna go Nico. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Snag deck. Regardless, can always drop them next week. Exactly. Appreciate you rocking with us. Like I said before, if you have yet to do so, please hit us with a like and a sub. Rice, Rice, Flowers, McLaurin, or Downs at the flex. Kev, what you got?
This is easily Zay Flowers.
Let me say Flowers for me as well. General, is Devin Singletary taking over? I don't know if he's taking over, but I think if there's another game where Pierce is struggling and Singletary does better, like even if that happens, I don't think Singletary is going to be like the guy going forward. Like I still think they're going to work Pierce in. Like I think it's possible he ends up being like the 60-40 back in this rotation, but like I wouldn't say like a complete takeover. Ken, PPR, Olave, Myers, D Hop, Thomas, Ridley start two. So be Olave and
Joey Myers.
Jacoby for me. Alexis, sorry I'm late. You should be. Cody, I know you said I should sit Bijan over Higgins, Devonta, and Puka. May I just ask why? I just don't love the matchup for Bijan, and it doesn't really have anything to do with what happened last week. But just in general, I do not trust Arthur Smith either. So it's a mix of the matchup and not trusting the Chip Kelly with a mustache. It really what it was is I was putting JT in over Bijan. He had JT in the flex, and then I slid in Higgins in the flex.
Yeah, I think I would play Bijan, and I think I would sit Devonta Smith.
What are
Or
you doing with JT? JT's in the mix there. You going JT over Devonta?
well, who's he? I mean, who are you starting? I guess.
I can't. We'll go to the next one, and I'll pull his roster up. Henderson in 2022
To
average
now has
4.
averaged 14.7 fantasy points in PPR.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know why my brain was not functioning there. I know he dropped this in the Discord, which by the way, we have a we have a free Discord if you find folks would like to join. I did add the link in the description below, so you can join that if you would like to. I don't know why I'm having trouble finding that. We'll keep going here. Uh, Falcons or Cowboys defense?
Um, I think you just hold on to the Cowboys. Like I do have the Falcons ranked ahead of the Cowboys. I have, like I said, the Falcons. I think at 9. Yeah, at 9. I had the Cowboys at 12. So who does the Cowboys play? Philadelphia. So they're tough, right? Because they play Philadelphia, and then they play right
So
after Philadelphia. Though they get the Giants, the Panthers, and then the Commanders. So like, I think I'll just hold on to the Cowboys, ride them with them this week. I would still probably hold on to them for next week because then after that they get a 3 game stretch where it's fantastic again. So, but then after that you can drop them because then they got Seattle, Philadelphia, Buffalo, Miami, and Detroit. So
I'd probably go Falcons this week, but I wouldn't mind going to the Cowboys either. We're now plugging in Rice over Higgins, Devonta, or Puka. So I have his roster here. Currently, it is Jacobs and Bijan in at running back. Then we have Keenan Allen and Puka at wide receiver. And then at the flex, we have JT and Devonta Smith. So we have Higgins, Downs, and Rice also in the mix.
then I think it comes down to Devonta or Higgins to me is really the question. Let's see, and I would lead Devonta there. I would go Devonta over Higgins slightly. I have Higgins at 24 and I have Devonta Smith at 21. So
So you're putting JT in that?
yes.
Okay. Gibson got dropped. Would you stash him? I would not. I've been looking at him on the one dynasty league where I have him, and like I'm thinking about dropping him every single week.
Yeah, because even if he gets like if Brian Robinson were to get hurt or it's Chris
It's Chris
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez.
Yes, would be the guy who steps in. And so I don't think Antonio Gibson's role changes. I think he continues to be just this pass catching, third down back. And I think that's really all he'll be.
Not a good one at that. In the scenario that Henry gets traded, do we think Spears becomes a bell cow?
Yes.
I needed to look. Oh my lord. Who else do they
So
have?
the Titans have it's like the fourth or fifth schedule adjusted rest of season. They're top 5 in rest of season remaining the remaining schedule. So it's very good for the Titans rest of season. And like their playoff matchup is they get the Texans twice. We know that you can still easily run the ball all over them. Like that's how you beat them. They're actually been much better against the pass than having against the run this year. And so I know they get them twice during the playoffs. So yes, Spears if that were to happen, Spears could end up being a game, just a league winner.
I was trying to look it up because I knew that no other running backs are really getting touches behind Spears and Henry, but I was like, man, I don't know who is behind them. I pulled up their depth chart. Hassan Haskins, IR, Julius Chestnut, IR. So Spears right now is the only healthy running back that they have behind Henry on the active roster as of right now. So, but leave it up to the Titans to bring in like Adrian Peterson and play him over.
See what Frank Gore's doing. Kick the tires on old Frank Gore.
Pick 2 the flex here for for Alexis Jones, Ayuk, Hunt, D Hop, or Coop.
Who's Jones?
Aaron, I'm assuming.
You never know. It could be Julio. He's in the league now. Yeah, back in the league.
That's why I said I'm assuming.
Ayuk for sure. I have Ayuk as a top 10 option this week. I have him at 9. So Ayuk is a lock. And then I think past that, if Jerome Ford misses, I would go Kareem Hunt.
Mm-hmm.
If Jerome Ford plays, then I probably slide over and go Probably Aaron Jones, but I hate it. Like, I really am trying to avoid playing Aaron. Like, I have Aaron Jones as an RB3 this week because I know a lot of people, still have him as a top 24 running back. But at this point, you're just wish casting it because he hasn't played more than 40% of the snaps all year. And he's still getting in limited practices. So, like, he just doesn't look right. Like, he does not look like Aaron Jones right now. And, like, he feels like a guy that they should shut down for 2 or 3 games. But the coaching staff is probably obviously trying to keep their job because everything's not going well there. So it's tough to trust them. But, like, the other options you have, I don't really love either.
Yeah, I agree. Ashton coming through with the super chat. Appreciate you, my man. Would you move London and Foreman for Burrow?
Do you have a quarterback, Ashton? Like, that would be my question. Like, if you already have a strong quarterback, my answer would be no. But if you're needing a quarterback, then I think you could do that.
Where do you think you would like draw the line there? Would it be like Jordan Love?
Oh, if you have Jordan Love, I'm damn sure doing it. But yeah, I mean,
Like
um,
Deshaun Watson?
I would rather. Yes, I would still do it.
Yeah, I would do the trade. Assuming you have the wide receiver depth to move off of London. Foreman isn't, doesn't really factor in here. I know he's been really good. I think he stays in the fold because of how good he's played. But with Roshan back, I think that's not going to be
I
the
don't.
Deontay Foreman show.
So I mean, So Foreman's game really was boosted by obviously scoring 3 touchdowns, right? Because people are talking about him this week, and I don't understand why. Like, he's like was some bell cow last week. He wasn't. He only played 48% of the snaps. He didn't even handle 50% of the rush attempts either. And it was the 3 touchdowns that basically got him there. And so he certainly, I wouldn't say that he's earned some sort of big role. Like, they didn't even trust him with a big role last week. Like, he didn't even see a big role last week, and he's healthy. Like, so I think Foreman is a perfect sell high. So, like, I'm perfectly fine with trading him. I just don't love trading for quarterbacks if I don't have to. But if
Yeah.
you're in a spot where you just desperately need a quarterback, yeah, I think you can make that trade.
I think depending on who you'd be dropping, like I think Wandell is a fine stash. It also depends on your league size as well. Like 12 teams and up, obviously I would think about it, but like 10 teams and lower, I don't know that I would stash him. So it depends for me, league size and who you'd be dropping to pick up Wandale. Brandon, Barkley, Eckler, Pacheco, sit one. I'm going to sit Pacheco here.
I'm going to sit Barkley.
Wilson, Smith, Addison, sit one there as well.
Smith. That is tough, yes. So, because I have
I'm going to
Eckler.
sit Wilson.
So at running back, I have Eckler at RB6, and I have Pacheco at RB8, and then I have Barkley at 9. So it's extremely close between those two. It's just the matchup, the offense. The Jets defense is really good. They have struggled some against the run, but I don't love the matchup. And then at wide receiver, it's very similar. Like, all those guys are like right in the really same range. I have Addison at 16, Garrett Wilson at 18, and then Devonta at 21. And but the thing is, for Devonta, if he was getting the usage that he was last year, because that's been the problem. He's not seeing the same target share as he was last year. And because what we're seeing is the running backs, like last year, they were like 30th or 31st in target share to the running backs. This year, they're like 14th or 15th. So that's really been where the problems come for Devonta Smith. And obviously AJ Brown has dominated and
Yeah.
just went off. And so, like, that game's coming, and like this could be that game because the Commanders, their secondary is so incredibly bad.
Awful.
And so, like, this very well could
Real
be
bad.
that game. And so, like, I think Devonta Smith has the highest ceiling of all them. So, like, it's really close between Smith and Garrett Wilson. And if you're needing that ceiling game, like if you're playing somebody that has a really good team on the other side and you don't know if you're going to be able to win, I would stick in Devonta Smith and hope for that ceiling because I think he has a much higher ceiling than what Garrett Wilson.
JT or Brees? This one's going to be Brees for me.
Yeah, but I have Brees Hall as a top 5 running back.
Caden, Watson, Rice, Bourne. This is going to be Rice, I'm assuming, for both of us.
Yep.
Here's the question everybody wants to know. Subway or Mickey D's?
I'm not a big fan of Subway. I'm just not. Like, I think there's better sandwich shops out there, right? Like, Jimmy John's is better than Subway. Their meat's not real. Like, I mean, have you seen some of their meat? Like, I'll eat it, like, if I have to. Like, people are like, hey, let's go to Subway. I'm like, fine, whatever. Like, but it's never something I'm like, you know what? Subway sounds good today. I'm gonna go to Subway. And I mean, McDonald's, like, their breakfast is very good. Their meals, like, they're fine. Like, it's not bad, But and especially drunk, like, long night, heading home, stop, grab like 17 cheeseburgers and, feel like a fat slob afterwards, but you got to get that grease in there to soak up the alcohol. But yeah, so it'd be McDonald's.
There is a picture out there that exists of a drunk Cody at Penn State just eating a McDonald's cheeseburger just through the wrapper. Just didn't take. I was just eating it through the wrapper. I feel the same way with literally everything you said, but thrown in the McD's way. I like if I'm gonna get a fast food burger, I'm going to Five Guys. Like I'm not fucking around. Straight to Five Guys is where I'm going. Like Subway is like it's fine, but like I can't remember the last time I was like, you know what? Let's go get a fucking double quarter pounder with cheese. Like
No,
just have it.
their breakfast is good. Like I like their breakfast quite a bit. McMuffin, sausage McMuffin. Their sausage burritos are really good. I mean, their lunch stuff is fine. Depends on where you go, but yeah, like I think
I'm
honestly though, like the one place I hate, like Sonic, I cannot stand their hamburgers. I just think they're I don't get it. I'm not a big fan. Some of the other stuff they have are good, but that is not for me. But Culver's, have you ever had Culver's?
There's a Culver's by me. Yeah.
Culver's is really good. Culver's is good, and actually, like Freddy's, their burgers are really good. Especially that's like pepper jack jalapeno one they have. Very good. If you ever, I don't know if you've ever had Freddy's. I don't know if they have them there, but they are very good.
Heard of them. I don't think I've ever had it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I don't get food too much from Culver's. We actually just got their ice cream tonight.
yeah,
The what do they call it? The cement mixer,
yeah. I mean,
like the
so
Blizzard.
Freddy's has the same thing. I mean, it's they have the same thing. So, but
Uh,
Freddy's is very good. Theirs are like steak burgers or whatever, but their fries are elite, and then they have their dipping sauce. Very good. Now, I'll say when I was in the military, when I was stationed down in Florida, down in Jacksonville, the go-to place was Crystals because we used to get the crystal. I don't know if you ever had them. I don't know if they have. I think they're a South thing, but the Crystal Chicks. Oh my goodness, you could get like it's like I think it was like White Castle, but like it's like very similar concept of type of food because you can just get like this huge like you get like 12 burgers for like $10 or something like that, and you just wake up the next morning and it's just a sea of these cartons all around, and just from, from just crushing these things. Yeah. So anyway,
808, what's going on? San Fran or the Chargers at defense?
Chargers.
I'm gonna go Chargers as well. Aiden Jacobs or Jacoby?
I feel like this is gonna have somebody one that I just end up regretting, but I'm gonna go Jacoby. With
I'm
Jimmy
gonna go
Garoppolo back,
Jacobs.
like he has seen an elite target share with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Trunk, thoughts on Bryce Young? I have Deshaun out and Purdy might not play. I think Purdy should be okay. Trunk, but if you're still rocking with us, let us know what other waiver options that you have.
I can say this: I do not love Bryce Young. I would rather play Zach Wilson over Bryce Young. I'd rather play Desmond Ritter, Gardner Minshew. I'd rather play Kenny Pickett. Like there is a long list of players that I would rather play over Bryce Young, and it's because I've said like Houston has been really good against the pass this year. They are top five. They play zone coverage at a top 5 rate this year, and they are let me bring it up really quick. So the Texans have earned an 87.7 team coverage grade, which ranks sixth best in the league, and they've also only allowed a touchdown on 32% of zone coverage plays, ranking which is also top 10 in the league this year. And the Texans play zone at the fourth highest rate at 82.7%, and so they have been really good against the pass this year. So it's just not this is and Bryce Young hasn't been great anyway, and so this I'm not doing it.
Please pick two: Rice, Ridley, Nico, Dobbs. This is gonna be Rice and Nico for me.
Agreed.
Rice or Pickens. I think we're gonna be split on this one, Kev. I'm gonna go Rice on this one. Sounds like you have Pickens as a top 20 option, so that's where you are headed on this one.
Yeah, I'm going Pickens. I mean, it's just because you hate the Steelers. Okay, that's why you just hate the Steelers. It's weird. It's such a weird transition because all offseason you were like high on the Steelers. You're excited for them, and look, they're 4-2. They're a 4-2 team right now. You know, you should be rocking some Steelers
Frauds.
gear right now. Okay,
Fraud.
all right. You really are. You know what you need? You need a Steelers shirt and then like put X's over it, and turn like a Steelers hat inside out and just be the guy from Major League. The heckler in the stands.
That would be much more fitting. They play with my heart, Kev, and I can't forgive them. Sorry, we couldn't help you out on that one, Shelton. My gripe is eventually the 30-yard back shoulder throws to Pickens like aren't going to click one week is where my gripe comes in. Dolphins or Texans? This is going to be me on me for me. Benvenido
Uh,
a Miami. Welcome to the club when the
yeah,
heat
I'll
is
go
on.
Miami here.
Ready to the break it on. Going to Miami. Welcome to John Bell, Adams, Hill, Nakua, or Keenan. We need three. Who? Oh my goodness.
Good for you, John. Are you like what 7-0 right now? I mean, with this conglomeration of wide
Man.
receivers.
Golly,
Tyreek's
man.
locked. You lock him in. Keenan Allen's locked. I got him as a top 5 wide receiver. And then it comes down to Puka and Devontae Adams.
I'm gonna go Devontae, but I'm gonna play Devontae. I'm gonna sit Puka. But there's not a correct answer. There's not.
I mean, to be fair, Devontae Adams has been really bad the last 3 games. He's finished as wide receiver 45, 69, and 24 over the last 4 games or the last 3 games. And he only has one wide receiver 1 week, and that was week 3 against Pittsburgh where he put up 42. He was wide receiver 2. Other than that, he's been a wide receiver 2 on the entire season. He is not the highest he's finished other than that was wide receiver 17 week 2 where he put up 20 PPR points. So he's become kind of touchdown dependent because the volume also hasn't been there because he only has 1 week where he has over 10 targets. Other than that, it's been 6, 6, 8, 4, 2, and 7. Don't know what you're doing there. So I think you could actually lean Puka Nakua here.
Yeah, sorry, John. We were not helpful on that one.
Like eventually the squeaky wheel narrative is going to come to effect, and they're going to feed Devontae Adams again at some point. But at this point, I don't know why the Raiders don't trade him, but that's not the question here. They definitely should. But
AO, good to see AO in here. Start 2. Smitty, Flowers, McLaurin. I'm gonna sit McLaurin.
yes, agreed.
And then we need one between DK, Ridley, and Palmer.
I'm going to go Palmer.
Oh, I'll go Palmer as well. God, that feels gross. Emmanuel, hello TFA family. Hello to you, Emmanuel. 7-0 and a 12 teamer. Let's go. We got Allen, JJ Adams, Stephen Palmer, Downs, Rice, Walker, Cook, Ford, Chuba, Charbs, Godare, and Ravens D. Any trade suggestions?
I mean, I would say trade ads, but I don't think you can trade him right now, or at least you're not going to get the value return on him that you should. Thielen could make for one as well. 'Cause I just can't. I mean, is he really going to see this type of just like is this going to be a thing all year? Is it like
If he stays healthy, it's going to. That's the only thing that I am worried about. He's clearly the only receiver there worth anything. He's the only one getting open. Like, if this was like week 3 and we saw it from Thielen, that's one thing. But the fact that we are as far as we are and he's had as many games as he has, as long as he stays healthy, that's gonna be a thing. I mean, the only thing I would say here, Emmanuel, is like maybe try to pair together to like Palmer and Downs, or I wouldn't want to get rid of Rice yet, considering the ascension that he is on. But like a Thielen and I don't know, like a Ford or a Cook, something like that. I would want to get stronger at your RB2 spot. Cav, you were talking about Walker and how brutal that schedule is coming up for Seattle. That'd be the only thing there, Emmanuel, is I would want to try and go after um, a stronger running
if you could
back.
trade? So if you could trade, who would you rather have, Adam Thielen or CeeDee Lamb?
Mm, man,
Because I think I'd rather have CeeDee Lamb.
it's close, but probably, yeah.
Amon-Ra St. Brown or Adam Thielen.
Monroe. So I think if you could trade, I think Eckler is a really nice buy low option if you can try and squeeze something, try and squeeze that depending on how the Eckler owner looks. Trying to think of running backs you could buy. Think Monty, depending on who has Monty. If they're hurting, if they need some points, I think you try and buy Dave Montgomery. I think would, if he's hurt, seems like you can kind of hold on. And, being at 7-0, you could, lose a week and have it not wreck your season. So I think Monty would be another option. Kev, you have any running back buys off the top of your head?
Tony Pollard, I think, is one for sure. Hasn't scored a touchdown since week 1, but the volume remains absolutely elite. Coming off the bye should help, but he hasn't been, fantastic. The last week he played, he was through RB11, but still was only 17 PPR points. But I think you could definitely look at somebody like Tony Pollard as a buy if you wanted to. Pacheco, I still think you could buy him. He has been a top 15 running back every single game since week 1. And so I think Pacheco is still I don't think people fully buy into him as that. Like he's not believed to be like a top 12 running back, I think, by a lot of people. And so, but I do think he is another player you could look to buy. DeAndre Swift is another buy for me. So and even, you know, yeah, I think that would probably be the list though. Maybe even Josh Jacobs. I mean, he's still seeing an elite touch share. And eventually you feel like he's gonna figure this out and they're gonna turn this around.
Yeah.
And I mean, you might be able to buy him pretty cheap.
Hunt over Javante for 808.
No, I'm playing Javante.
Downs over Metcalf. I would play Downs over Metcalf.
Yep.
London, Thielen or Kirk?
Oh, this is Thielen. I have Thielen at wide receiver 12. With all that being said,
Yeah. Thielen for me as well, but I do really like the spot that Kirk is in this week as well. Because fuck the Steelers. When Kyron comes back, would he be in the RB1 range? Assuming, yeah, I mean, if he gets the same workload, he'll be in the
Do you think he'll
in
get
the
the same
RB1.
workload though? To me, it really depends on what Daryl Henderson does for the next couple of weeks. Because I feel like if Daryl Henderson comes back, like, and just continues to play really well, I don't think you can put that back. Like, I don't think you just take him off the field and all of a sudden Kyron Williams goes back to being that 86% touch share guy. Like, I think you could see a situation, even where it's possible that maybe it is just a committee and where Kyron Williams gets more of the pass catching work and stuff like that. And Daryl Henderson continues to operate as kind of the early down back. Like, I think that's definitely in the range of possibility here for something like that to happen. Like, I wouldn't shock me. Let's say that.
Yeah, the only thing I would say back to that is it's they obviously had the entire offseason to bring Henderson in, and they just chose to rock with Kyron. So I mean, maybe it's not the bigger issue for me with Kyron is the number of targets that he was losing. Like obviously that had nothing to do with Henderson, but that was once Cup came back, those targets dried up in a jiffy. We what is this, the Texas Police Department? Look, Walker, Texas Ranger. This is who we're talking about.
No, there's the Texas Rangers in the World Series. And they came back and tied it up. I was surprised whenever I turned it off so we could do the show. It was 5-3. I didn't know if they were going to be able to do it, but they tied it up. Bottom 10. We get extra baseball right now. Bottom 10, sitting in double play. So, not that I'm a Rangers fan because I'm not, but, you know, I am.
AO has another one here. Pick 3 in a PPR hunt: Roshan, Foreman, Hendo, and Warren.
Henderson.
Hunt.
And I'd probably lean towards Foreman
I'm gonna go
this
Warren.
week. Don't mind that either, but I think I still lean Foreman for this week. But I am really not feeling great though about Roshan Johnson coming back. Or Foreman, I mean.
Finns, Texans, or Falcons D. I would go Falcons here.
Yep.
Alley on base. Slap at the pass. Olave, Flowers, or Stevenson. It's gonna be Olave for me by a smidge.
Come on. Yeah. I really like Flowers. I really like Zay
So
Flowers.
do
I'm
I.
a top 15 wide receiver this week, but I do have Olave just slightly ahead of him. Who else are you starting? If you're still rocking with us, I mean we're only 30 minutes behind. So, if you decide
Oh
to
god.
stay, but if you're still in here, I'd like to know who else you're starting because like I said, I have Olave, I think at wide receiver 13, then I have Flowers at wide receiver 14, I believe. So that's really close.
Murdoch. Starting Jacobs and Hendo, considering Pierce over one of them. Bad idea. Speculation on Monty's role when he comes back. I think Monty's going to go back to the same role he was in. If they're ahead, it's going to be Monty just grinding it out. I think in closer games or games that they are trailing, that's when we will see Gibbs pop in a little bit more. So I think he goes right back to what it was. And I would not start Pierce over Jacobs or Hendo.
No, unfortunately, even though it's a fantastic matchup for the Houston Texans running backs, but I'm not playing Pierce over either one of those two.
Yeah, we're gonna have to try and catch up on some of these. Just got the text from the wife that my child is still awake. Jay, I want to trade Rashad White, but don't know for what. What would you recommend? Maybe package White, Gabe Davis for someone.
It's hard to say. I mean, these questions are hard because I don't really know what the rest of your team looks like to be able to say like what is it that you need. Um, I
Maybe
assume
with
your running
Gabe
backs are
Davis.
good if you're saying you're able to trade Rashad White. So you're not really needing another running back here. So Mm. I mean, I think you go after a wide receiver, but I mean, so I know Rashad White's coming off a good game, but he hasn't really necessarily been that for most of the year. And then Gabe Davis is extremely hit or miss in terms of that. But I still think this is a good opportunity to try to buy Justin Jefferson if you don't have him. So the reports are now coming out that it sounds like he's going to be ready to go as soon as he's able to, and so it sounds like within 2 more weeks he could be back. And so I still think you could possibly look to buy somebody like Justin Jefferson at a discounted cost, knowing that he's going to be back in a couple of weeks if your team can withstand it. But past that, like I think it's tough because you're with that package, you're not getting up into the wide receiver one range. It's not happening. And the wide receiver two range has been so incredibly volatile this year that guys like T Higgins, yeah, I think is a great buy. Like I think you could look at that. I think I'd be fine with that. Trying to maybe trade Rashad White and even Gabe Davis for T Higgins. We know when T Higgins is right and healthy, and Joe Burrow is right, like he is a top 15 wide receiver. And so I think that is something you could look and maybe even get something tacked onto that there. But maybe that's something I think you could look to do.
Jacobs, Taylor, Keenan, Puka, Higgins, Devonta, so we already went through this. We already went through that one. We buy homes near you, 512. What's going on, fellas? Good to see you in here. 512. Someone's offering me Jacoby Myers for Alvin Kamara. Would you take this trade in a standard league in need of a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 1 is Tyreek Hill?
You should be able to get a lot more for Alvin Kamara for how well Alvin Kamara has played. Um, I know Jacoby Myers has played really well too, but it's Alvin Kamara has been fantastic and one of the few, you know, really consistent options on a week to week basis. I mean, you're in PPR formats, the dude has been a top 10 running back every single game that he's played in. So he's finished his RB 9, 7, 10, and 2. So it's going to take a lot more for me to move off Alvin Kamara than Jacoby Myers.
Yeah, even in a standard league, I agree. Also, would you recommend keeping the Cowboys defense or trading it for the Niners or Eagles since Cowboys are number 1? Maybe I could trade them since they have a hard schedule later.
I mean, you can try, sure, if you can make that happen. I mean, I'm all for that.
Yeah. Never hurts to try, right? Murdoch. Stash Khalil Herbert.
Yep.
I would, yeah. Luke. Traded Addison for Walker before injury reports came out. Still a good move. Needed help at running back. This
Yeah,
is all going
you
to depend on when and if Justin Jefferson comes back, right? Like when Jefferson comes back, assuming he does, like Addison is going to be seeing the same target share that he is currently enjoying right now.
Yeah, I at this point I do expect they're a half game out of a playoff spot now, and so they put themselves back in a situation where they're fighting for a playoff spot, and so I expect him to be back, and I think he comes back probably in 2 weeks. And so with that being said, it is a good trade. So this is the remaining schedule for the Seahawks. So obviously Cleveland this week, but then they get at Baltimore, Washington, which has been very good against running backs, the Rams, San Francisco, at Dallas, at San Francisco again, Philadelphia, at Tennessee, and Pittsburgh is the remaining schedule. Like when I say it's brutal for the Seahawks remaining schedule for running backs. And so and somebody that doesn't see really much volume in the passing game, he only seen more than 4 targets once, and that was week 1. Other than that, it's been 2, 3, 0, 3, and 3 in terms of targets. And so he doesn't provide anything there. So he's basically extremely touchdown dependent. Um, if he doesn't score a touchdown, he's not going to pay off. And so I think on the surface of you trading Addison for Kenneth Walker, I think that's awesome. But I would also probably try to then turn around and try to flip Kenneth Walker again if I could. Just because that schedule really, really concerns me.
Yeah. Czar. Would you guys start either Rice or Dell over Olave? We would not, but we do like Rice and Dell this week. But Olave is going to be ranked higher. Alex, I was offered Eckler for Bijan. Should I take it? I want the Eckler side.
Yeah. No, that is a very weird situation that's going on there. You saw some of the comments, I guess. He doesn't sound like they're a big fan of Brandon Staley around there. And it sounds like they're really starting to lose the locker room.
I did not see any of
He
that.
kind of, I guess he made some comments. And then when he was on, I think one of his shows that he does, he made some comments about the coaching staff. And then when asked about it by reporters, he didn't deny it. And he just said he doesn't need to talk about that right now, basically. Just kind of shoved it off. But he didn't say like he didn't deny it, didn't like downplay it, like, oh no, everything's great there. He just basically said, I'm just here to play football.
Hmm. Okay. Foreman or Madison?
I'm gonna go Madison, but I do
I'm gonna
not
go
love it.
Foreman.
I am really nervous about what we saw with Cam Akers last week. And Cam Akers actually looked explosive
Yeah.
last week. I mean, he looked like the better running back between the two of them. But the matchup is fantastic. The Packers give up their top four in fantasy points allowed to the running back position. Where on the flip side of that, the Chargers have been really good against opposing running backs this year. They've allowed the fourth fewest rushing yards on the year. Where they've gotten beat is through the air on the season, and so that's what would worry me there with that situation. Because let me see, I got it right here. That's one of the situations I hit on. If you haven't watched the running back rankings video, I hit on this Deonta Foreman situation. Uh, so the Chargers have been very good stop the run. They've allowed the seventh fewest rushing yards, and they've been gashed through the air, allowing the third most receiving yards to running backs. So, uh, it, and he's not a pass catching running back. Deonta Foreman is, so he's not someone who's going to get peppered with targets or anything like that. So it does worry me. So I think I would go with Alexander Madison based on that.
Logan Thomas or Taysom Hill? With Juwan Johnson coming back, I'm going to go Logan Thomas.
Dub Nation. This is what I'm going to ask. Is Trey McBride available? I feel like he probably is. He's available in a large amount of leagues still when he shouldn't be. I have him as a
Good call.
top 12 tight end this week. I have him at tight end 12. So I have him ranked over Taysom Hill. I have him ranked over Logan Thomas. I have Logan Thomas at tight end 15 this week and Taysom Hill at 17. So I want Trey McBride. And I think Trey McBride's somebody you can actually start long term too. With Zach
Yeah,
Ertz out on IR.
I agree. Dell or Ridley?
Tank Dell.
I'm going to go Tank Dell as well. Truth. What Bears running back do you trust this week? Foreman or Johnson? I'm going to go Foreman.
This week I trust probably Foreman a little more, but though, yeah, I'm gonna say Foreman.
Uncle Baby Billy and a 14 team need help. Got offered a trade for DJ Moore. They offered Debo and Miles Sanders. I have Cup, Higgins, and Metcalf. What do you think? If you would have asked me this 3 weeks ago, I would have said absolutely. I loved Miles Sanders at the beginning of the year. I think the injuries are holding him back. I think everyone forgets about the groin injury where he missed the entire preseason. He's popped up with it, I think, on one or two other occasions throughout the year. Oh, Lord. I don't mind moving on from DJ Moore, but
I still want the DJ Moore side.
I would hold DJ Moore here. I'm with you. I think if you want to move a wide receiver, you could potentially move Higgins after this week, assuming he has some production. I think people might be more willing to take Higgins on. You might be able to move him, assuming you're doing that for running back help. If you don't need running back help, I would just keep DJ Moore. RT got Foreman, Najee Moss for RB2, Palmer, Higgins, Dobbs as flex. Who do I start? Higgins at the flex. Golly. We're going to go Najee.
Really?
Yeah.
It was amazing. He finally found the end zone last week.
And he looked like he had a little bit more pep in his step.
I'm going to go Foreman.
Then you with me on Higgins, or are you starting Palmer in the flex?
I would go Higgins there.
Got a big question for our starting lineup. Made a crazy trade. Hopefully it goes through. We have a veto vote in the league. That's why I'm hoping it'll go through. Truth, let's not jinx it. Let's wait till it goes through and then hit us up on Sunday morning. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's wait until it goes through. Oh my. So I guess Bryce Young would be your well, Tyrod's been playing good, man.
Yeah, but I mean, they're playing the Jets, and the Jets. I mean, the Jets defense has made
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen look not great.
Yeah,
I can only imagine
about
what's going to
that.
happen to Tyrod Taylor. So, I guess at that situation, yeah, I guess you just fuck, or you hope Brock Purdy doesn't play and you pick up Sam Darnold. Because I actually originally, because I didn't think Brock Purdy was going to play, so I had Sam Darnold at quarterback 13 this week. I don't think there's much of a drop off between Sam Darnold and Brock Purdy. I know people that love Brock Purdy are going to be like, get out of here with that. No, Sam Darnold's terrible, but I think Sam Darnold isn't that different. And I think in the system, I think this is what this basically is. It's more of the system than it is anything here. And I think Sam Darnold would do just as well as Brock Purdy would.
Aaron wants to know, would you trade Cooper Cup for Chase?
Oh yeah, I would do that.
Yeah, I would take Chase there. Isaac, I am forgetting what we were talking about. Wandell out there, Gibson. Was that we're going back to the Gibson thing, Isaac? Because I'm not seeing Isaac. If you're still with us, let us know what that is in regards to. Not finding it. So, Kev, this I guess is directed toward you after hearing your take on Adams. Should I not start him? Tank Dell, Palmer, Osborne.
No, I think you still got. I mean, he's still Devontae Adams, right? And it's. I'm not going to sit Devontae Adams whenever he has the upside to see 12 targets and score 30 fantasy points, right? But I will admit that it's not great. Like he's arguably been not very good, and it's largely not him. And it's weird that Jimmy Garoppolo is continually targeting, just like peppering Jacoby Myers over Devontae Adams here with this, but I still, in good faith, cannot sit Devontae Adams for any of those three. And I like Tank Dell and Josh Palmer quite a bit this week, but I still have to play Devontae Adams.
Castillo, Henderson, Akers, DeMarcado, Dillon. Pick 2. What are
Henderson.
the first 2?
Oh, I'm going DeMarcado. I mean, he's coming off a week where, I don't think last week was a fluke. Let me put it that way. I don't think the 80%, 80% opportunity share that he saw was a fluke. I think that's going to continue. I think and I know that it's not but you can run on the Ravens. The Ravens are not a great run defense. They've been very good against the pass. They have struggled to stop the run at times, and so you can run on them. But he's also involved in the passing game, and like, sure, it's possible with when it comes to Akers that he could take over his backup, but I don't know. But I'm not going to bet on that's going to happen right now. I know with DeMarcado what I'm getting with them, and so I think you go Henderson and Amari DeMarcado.
David, Terry to my wide receiver 1. Who do I start at 2? Addison, Olave, Waddle. It's going to be Olave for me.
That dude is unreal. Sorry. You don't. Adolis Garcia just hit a walk off homer, but you don't even know who that is, so it does nothing for you.
It does not move the needle.
He has been on another planet in terms of hitting this offseason. So or this postseason. Just absolutely crushing. Heading into tonight, he was 6 for his last 7. So he's just going off, and he just hit a walk off. Bottom of the 11th. What a legend.
Addison, Olave, or Waddle?
Did we already answer that?
You didn't.
Olave, right?
You didn't say anything. I did. You were too busy talking about stickball.
Oh my god. Ramon, mad as hell left Davis on my bench. Foreman, Cooper, Stevenson. Who should I use in the flex? So I mean, listen. I mean, it sucks. I totally get it. But like prior to, I don't know. I mean, you had you not known if you didn't know what the result was going to be, would you have started Gabe Davis over the option that they have here?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I mean, it's process over results, right? Like that's the way it's got to go. And Gabe Davis is extremely volatile. And I mean, the game plan obviously last night for the Bucs was to take away Stephon Diggs the best they could, bracket coverage him, try to take him away, and they just leaned on Khalil Shakur, Gabe Davis, and Dalton Kincaid. And so it's kind of the way the game plan went there. And so I get it. But I would go Ramondre Stevenson.
I would go Stevenson as well. I would just pulled up Gabe's game log here with his PPR points and his finish. Obviously, we don't know where he's going to finish this week, but this is beginning at week 1. Kev, you said volatile. I think we might have to come up with a new word for this when it comes to Gabe Davis. Wide receiver 69, 14, 45, 21, 7, 84, and 88. Is what Gabe Davis has done in PPR finishes this year.
Yeah.
Stevenson for me as well.
But what you could do is look to trade him. Always try to sell high.
Tikadish. Will Josh Jacobs have a breakout week this week? I do not think this is the breakout week for Josh Jacobs.
No, this is not the matchup. Now, this is football, so anything crazy can happen. But this would not be the one that I would be expecting for a breakout.
512, appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate all of you for rocking with us throughout the entire night. Getting close to the end here. Which QB here for 512? Cousins, Goff, T-Law, or Stroud?
Goff.
We're going to go Goff as well. Cousins
at home,
be 2.
But so for me it goes Goff, then Stroud, then Cousins, and then Trevor Lawrence this week.
Lizaraga, Foreman, DeMarcado, or Singletary? I will go DeMarcado here.
This one I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go Foreman here.
Would you trade Hurts for Swift and Ridley?
No.
Would not do that. TB, the Catman. Good to see you back in here, Tony. Rest of the season, Dell or Hopkins?
I'm gonna go take Dell.
I'm gonna go Tank Dell as
I mean, if
well. If
Hopkins
we're
gets traded, then obviously that changes the scenario, right? But like, I can't predict that. So obviously, we'll know by Tuesday. So that's good. But I on the surface, I would go Dell if Hopkins got traded. Again, it would really depend on where he goes too. Like, it's not just a lock that wherever he would go, that it makes him all of a sudden, he's obviously more valuable than he is now. But it really would just depend on where he ended up.
because obviously if he's getting traded, it's going to a contender, and I can't think of any teams off the top of my head contender wise that would make a move for Hopkins to where he would be like the guy, right? Like I think wherever he ends up going to a contender, he ends up being the wide receiver too. It'd be a better situation than what he's in now, but still. If we are assuming we're throwing Charbonnet into this trio, I do like stashing Charbonnet, for the season, just in case anything were to happen to Walker if he were to miss any, lengthy period of time. Um, Out of this group, I'd probably still rather have Dell over the three. I see Jacobs or Walker at RB2.
This is gonna be Walker.
Go Walker there. Waller or Ingram at tight end. I'm gonna go
Ingram.
Ingram.
Yep.
Who would you try and trade Cup for? I don't like Puka Nakua on the team. I mean, I wouldn't be in a rush to get rid of Cup, to be honest. I mean, I think that was kind of just like a fluky week where
Well, let's
Puka
let's let's play the game again. Would you? Who would you rather have? Cooper Cup or Keenan Allen?
Cup,
Who'd you rather have? AJ Brown or Cup?
Cup,
Interesting. Stephon Diggs or Cup?
Cup,
Really? Okay. Tyreek Hill or Cup?
Hill,
Yeah. Jamar Chase or Cup?
Chase.
Let me ask this: would you trade Cooper Cup for Justin Jefferson?
If I could stomach the weight, yes.
That's how I feel. If you are in a spot where you are 6-1, even 5-2 at this point, and you can afford to give up Cooper Cup for a week or two, knowing that Justin Jefferson should be back in 2 weeks, I'd do that. But I would take AJ Brown over Cooper Cup, and I would take Stephon Diggs over Cooper Cup at this point. I like Cooper Cup, but I still think that the risk of re-injury is still pretty high with him. That it makes me nervous with him. And then Puka Nakua's involvement, where I this isn't like a it. Those would pretty much be the list of wide receivers that I would rather have above him. I still think I would go Cup over Keenan Allen at this point, but I would much rather have I mean not much, but I would rather have AJ Brown and Stephon Diggs ahead of him. Obviously Tyreek and Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson are all there, but that's kind of the list, right? But I also think that if you also are a team that you're not in that position, that you could probably get a lot for Cooper Cup as well. So like I mean, I would try to just go to some teams and really put together some trades that you feel really good about, and then send them and see what happens, right? I mean, you never know.
Bruno, I have Laporta on by next week. Should I drop Akers for Everett right now to stream him or hold on to Akers? I would just hold on.
Who does Cleveland? So I was gonna say if I was gonna pick up anybody, I would pick up uh Trey McBride for next week.
There's still a possibility since he played on Thursday that Kincaid is still available as well.
Oh yeah, then you
Like
pick him up. But
you know, what I mean, it's possible. I would hold on to Akers. I don't trust any of the tight ends for the Chargers. I know Everett had the tiny last week, but I would just hold on to Akers for now. Because if Akers ends up like being the guy this week, I think you could potentially trade Akers for a tight end if you had to go that route. I wouldn't want to drop him. Houdini, Javante or Henderson. That's going to be Javante for both of us. Garrett Wilson or Downs.
Garrett Wilson.
What if you threw Higgins into the mix?
I would still start Garrett Wilson.
That that threw me off there. Didn't know if that was that was
Yeah,
on
there was
my
something that
screen
was
or
flying in front of the thing.
yeah. I thought maybe it was on my screen. It threw me off. Isaac, want to know if I should trade Cook? Okay, not getting his shine.
That's the problem though. Like it's not the best time to trade him. Like you want to trade him off a good week. But he doesn't have that sort of like name or something like that where you can withstand trading coming off a bad week. People are going to look at that and be like, oh no, he's not been very good, and they're saying the same thing as you are. So like you want him to go out and ball and have a really good game, and then that's when you flip him.
Okay, so he's saying his other RB is Swift. Lost J.K. Dobbins. Yeah, now's not the time to do it. If you have like a wide receiver you can attach and kind of do the trade where you know your trade partner is getting the better wide receiver and the lesser RB, and you're getting the better RB and the lesser wide receiver. If you could do something like that, you know you could always go that route. But to try and just like trade him like straight up right now, you know, for another running back, probably not going to be able to get it done. Like you said, Kev, like you know, people don't look at Pacheco with the the glasses that they should, right? So like if I could flip Cook for Pacheco, I would do that. I think like may potentially as long as Pacheco doesn't go off this week, that's something you could look to do. DB, Ridley, Flowers, DJ Moore, Dell. We need two.
Flowers and DJ Moore.
We go Flowers and Dell. DJ Moore will be set the next one for me. Wilson or Rice.
They're just gonna Garrett Wilson.
Henderson or Javante. We're gonna go Javante there. Oh, okay. This is Houdini now on
Yeah.
YouTube. Henderson or Pierce. I'm gonna go Hendo.
We never answered the wide receiver question that we skipped. He just asked the running back. He didn't ask the wide receiver question. I think I was
Didn't
so for me. This is going to be Josh Downs and Garrett Wilson.
okay. Yeah, there was a different question on Twitch. It was not the same one. I'm gonna sit London. Cam Daddy 10-man half PPR start two wide receivers this week. Myers, Pittman, DK, Hollywood, Amari, London.
Jacoby Myers. Where do I have Hollywood? No. All right. So I'm gonna go Myers and Pittman.
I'm gonna go Myers and London for me. Anyway, did have someone ask me to trade Adams for Olave. Is that something to revisit or sit with Adams?
Yeah, I'm sticking with Adams on that.
Joe Lee, DJ Moore, or Zay Flowers?
Zay.
Let's go. Forever High. London Downs, Rice, Foreman for flex. PPR, please help.
I'm gonna go Raishi Rice.
I'm going Rice as well. London Downs, Rice, for same thing. Castillo. Lamar and Herbert, which one would you trade for Jefferson?
Okay, so this is what I would say. 'Cause as soon as I saw it, I was like, I thought this immediately. It doesn't matter, whichever one the person wants. Like I don't, it didn't matter to me. Like you have, so those are two like really good quarterbacks. If I had to choose, like if someone said, I'll take either one of those quarterbacks, which one are you giving me? I'll give him Herbert, right? Just because of Lamar rushing ability and everything else. Lamar's still first in the league in rushing attempts and rushing yards and everything else. And now we all if he can continue the trend of being able to sling the rock like he did last week, then he just becomes that much more valuable. But like if I had the true choice, yes, I would offer Justin Herbert. But Justin Herbert's coming off a bad game, and so Lamar is value as is about as high as you can get right now. And so if you could offer somebody Lamar Jackson for Justin Jefferson, I'm doing it. Like if that's what they want and they don't want Justin Herbert, I'm perfectly okay with doing that. Because I said Justin Herbert is still a top 5 option, top 5, top 6 rest of season. So either way, you really can't lose, and all you can do is gain the best wide receiver in the league, and one of the most dominant. That you're when you get him back in a couple of weeks. So it doesn't really matter to me. Like if there was a lean one or the other for the person, it doesn't matter. Like if there's not a significant drop off between the two of them to where it's like, oh man, I really don't want to give that guy up.
Yeah, if I had my choice, I would also choose Herbert, but same thing. Like if they were like, no, I need Lamar, so be it. Who should I trade Cook for? Don't trust him. Don't blame you. Um, so I
Like I
think
think so. Like I like it's like you mentioned, it's really tough, right? Because he doesn't offer a lot right now. Like he's just his touch share is like, and he doesn't have the goal line. He doesn't have the goal line work at all, and so he's not seeing that. He's only scored 2 touchdowns all year. He's more valuable in PPR formats than he is, and not. I mean, the week before he did find the end zone where he scored 8. This week wasn't good. I mean, he's right. Only scored 8 PPR points, but the week before he scored 19. He's been kind of volatile this year, but he has had some good weeks. Like, but I don't think you're going to be able to get anything really of substantial value for him. Like, if I could get like Ramondre Stevenson for him, I'd do that. I Javonte Williams, I think I would buy there on Javonte Williams because I just think Javonte Williams is going to continue to trend up and
yeah.
continue to see more and more workload. You could do something like that, or you could ask for some smaller pieces where it would take me to like offer like a couple different options. Some like handcuffs plus another like wide receiver 3 or something like that. Like I would be okay with it, but at the same time, I'm also not actively trying to trade running backs if I don't have to, because we've seen how much these guys can get hurt and how quickly you could need a running back. Like in one weekend, your starting running backs can be taken out, and you're desperate for running backs at that point. So, like at this point of the year, like I'm not actually also just trying to go out and like just actually trade running backs. But if I could move something like that and get a like Javonte Williams, I would do that.
Would you do it for HN if you could wait?
Oh yeah.
Like he's someone who's kind of like getting forgotten about. Want to throw him out there. Houdini, you are welcome. I know it seems like we don't answer on Twitch, but we're just always super far behind, and YouTube is the place that dominates the questions. So it seems like we're ignoring you guys. We're not. Thank you guys. Appreciate the advice, the guide as always. TB, appreciate you rocking with us. These guys are goaded. Best of luck to all this week. Best of luck to you. Forever high. Impossible. 2 running backs, 1 wide receiver, 1 flex. Bijan, Pacheco, B-Rob, Dell, Nico, Higgins, Lockett, Hendo, Lockett, Dobbs.
So Bijan and Pacheco, and then at wide receiver, I'm gonna go with Nico, and then at flex, I'm gonna flex Higgins.
Yeah, I'm with you. Non-PPR here for 512. We need 1 wide receiver. Higgins, Collins, Flowers, Addison, Palmer, Rice, or Downs.
Nico. So here's the thing: when it comes to PPR, with non-PPR, like touchdown variance matters way more. It's going to swing things far more than what obviously just receptions does. So it would be so Flowers, I would bump down quite a bit because he's just not really a threat inside the red zone or anything like that. And so he kind of comes off the table for me when it comes to that. Like I would drop him down pretty significantly, where it would come down to really Higgins and Collins would be the two guys that I think because Higgins has a
That's
really
where I'm
secure
at.
role inside the red zone. He's somebody they definitely look for down there. And like I said with the bye, I think it's only going to help him. And so it comes down for me these two guys. Like I like the options you have here, but in non PPR, I think it's between Higgins and Collins, and I'm going to lean Collins.
That's where I'm at as well. I would lean. Man, that's so close for me. I would lean Higgins coming out of the bye. But if you don't trust it, I know we had that comment earlier. Collins is a very, very close second.
So just a couple of notes. So I just want to between that in that situation, because we've had a lot of people ask about Nico. So this is what I want to mention. The Panthers have allowed 7.31 yard per coverage snap and 8.6 yards per coverage target while in zone coverage, both the fourth worst rate in the league. Then you have Nico Collins, who his .49 is top 20 among wide receivers in fantasy points per route run against zone this season, and he also ranks top 25 in receiving grade versus zone coverage this year. So it is a very good matchup for Nico Collins this week against the Panthers, and he is very good at obviously beating zone coverage this year. And so with that, that's one thing that I really do like about Nico Collins this week. And then when it comes to Cincinnati, if you look over in that situation, um, it's tough because this numbers are thrown off a little bit because of obviously T Higgins hasn't really played, so we don't really have much of really of anything to go off of for this year. Because I mean, ran very little routes. I mean, he's only run 119 routes, which is nothing. That's and so he just doesn't have the same sort of. But I will say his target share drops down to 18.5% against zone coverage this year, but it jumps to 30.8% against man coverage this year. And so and the 49ers ranked 14th in terms of they run zone on 76.3% of dropbacks this year. And so that factors in a little bit for me when it comes to that. So that's kind of where I stand. So that's why I like Nico as much as I do this week.
I like it. Joe, unless you got a question, buddy, we are Audi 5000, my friend.
Yeah, apologize this week for going a little bit later, or not, just starting later and also going on Friday. Obviously, normally we go on Wednesdays, but a little sickness. Sometimes you got to nurse the health a little bit. Got to be 100% for game day. So, we were able to push it back a little bit so Cody could be at a hundo. So that's why we started a little bit later, and then obviously then tonight, had to go do something, so we started a little bit later. We'd like to anyway. So it really wouldn't be us anyways if we didn't, start late.
Yeah, it's just on brand. Nicholas, Judy or Spears rest of the season? Let's assume Judy and Henry get traded.
Well, it really depends on where Judy were to go. For that's a. But if Henry got traded, then it would be Spears.
Yeah, I wouldn't. That one just for me, Nicholas, come back next week after the after the trade deadline passes, and then I'll feel a lot better about answering that one. Thoughts on playing Cleveland defense this week? I think it's fine. The Seattle offense hasn't been what it was last year. I know just got what 37, 39 points just hung up on them by Indy of all teams, but I think they're fine. Probably going to be hard pressed to find a streaming option that's better than what Cleveland brings to the table. So that is going to do it. Appreciate all of you for rocking with us. The Discord link is actually in the description below. There will be Prop Talk tomorrow. Prop Talk will return, and then we are going to go. We'll be back on Sunday morning to answer more start sits as well at 11 a.m. Eastern. What will be the best landing spot for Judy fantasy wise, in your opinion? Man, is Judy the only option you have to drop, Nicholas?
Because I definitely want Tajay Spears if he's sitting out there. Like I want to add him for sure. Um, but I get it because if Judy gets traded, but so that so like if you really look at it, like what are the teams that you could realistically see him? Let's see. Standings. Just so I can look real quick, just because I want to know. Realistically, where he could get traded to.
Um,
Because I've heard talks about the Colts, and I'm like, I don't see the Colts doing that. Like I don't like. I guess maybe they could, but like I don't know if you really need that. Jerry Judy brings something similar to the table as the other guys they already have. Like I just don't think that's really an upgrade for them. But like so, as far as the playoff teams, the Chiefs have been floated. The Chiefs aren't trading for Jerry Judy. Okay, it's not going to happen. For one, the Broncos aren't going to trade Jerry Judy within the division. But the Dolphins, they're not doing it. I don't see why they would go out and try to trade for Jerry Judy. The Ravens, possibility, right? Some of the other wide receivers really haven't really panned out. Rashad Bateman's on a rookie deal, so it's not like it really matters. He hasn't really done a whole lot. Odell's Odell. This is a team that's fighting for a playoff spot, but this is also a team that's been rumored for looking for a running back. So I possible, but probably not. The Jaguars, no. The Steelers, I can't see it for them. The Browns are a possibility that could do something like that. You know, they still have Amari, but Elijah Moore really hasn't worked out. The Bills we've already talked about, and then the rest of them are like the non-playoff teams that are fighting to get in. The Texans, maybe they want to surround another, CJ Stroud with another weapon, but do they really need to with Nico and and Tank Dell playing as well as they have? And then the rest of them are, I mean, the Bengals aren't doing that, and the Jets aren't doing that with all their wide receivers. So NFC side, it's kind of the same conversation. The Lions, I could see do that because Jameson Williams looks like he's getting close to being a cut candidate after this year with some of the stuff he's doing and the comments that are coming out about him. So the Lions, I could 100% see it. If he got traded to the Lions, that would be a great spot. I would love that. But that also doesn't make sense because he plays so much on the inside as a slot, and Amon-Ra St. Brown is there. So why would you do that? The Falcons, hell no. The Seahawks ain't happening. The Cowboys, I don't see doing something like that. The Vikings, no. The Rams, no. The Bucks, no. Like, so there's not a lot of great options. So I guess what I'm getting at. And so, like, there's not too many teams that I can think of where I'm just like, man, I love that, right? For him to go to. Where he's either going to be in a really crowded spot where, like, how many places does he go to that you just like you get excited for? The Lions would probably be like the list.
they're
So
obviously not a
I say
contender.
that to say this. I'm fine with picking up Tajay Spears.
I think the Panthers can make sense, and like Bryce hasn't looked great, but whenever he has someone that is actually open to throw to, like he's been like he's looked fine. I think I think the Panthers could make some sense. They've also been rumored
The
to
Chargers could
they
be another team I didn't think about. The Chargers could be a team that could, but they, again, never mind. Same thing. I can't see them trading within the division, so that would be the same thing.
think Panthers.
Yeah, but I
Nothing
don't
like I
know
would
how
be.
excited I would be that with Bryce Young, but yeah, I guess.
Yeah. For some reason Aaron Jones can't play. Do I play Hubbard/Sanders or Roshan? I mean, I guess there I'm going Aaron Jones. Not excited about it, but I'd play Aaron Jones over those names. Um, and then Howell over Minshew. Oh golly.
I don't think you have to worry about Aaron Jones is playing. I would be surprised if he didn't. But
Yeah.
if he didn't, I'm gonna go Hubbard there. And then am I starting Howell or Minshew?
I would go Minshew, I think. I mean, Sam Howell has been taking 5 to 7 sacks every single game. Like, I think the Eagles are just gonna fucking chew him up. Like, I think he could still potentially get there, but Minshew, just don't watch the game when Minshew is playing. Just check in the fourth quarter, get all the fourth quarter Minshew DGAF stats, and just be happy with it.
I would personally, I would play Howell, but I get it. Like it's close to. Like it's not like a ringing endorsement for Sam Howell. I have Sam Howell at quarterback 17, and I have Gardner Minshew at QB 19. So
Judy Rice, JSN, Dell, Char Rocha on the bench.
yeah, I get it. I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't.
Yeah. I think Roshan would be in the discussion.
Yeah, but I still think at some point this year the Bears are going to want to see what they have. Like Deonta Foreman, that's what worries me the most about Deonta Foreman, even just for this week, is that I think if you're the Bears, you really want to see what you have in Roshan Johnson, right? And like Deonta Foreman, like you kind of know what he is. And like I said, he didn't even like I was trying to say, like he didn't even play 50% of the snaps last week. Like this isn't a player that was hurt and coming off injury or something like that. They're trying to ramp him up or something like that. This is not the case. Like he's been a healthy scratch for most of the year. And so Roshan, I just think at some point they're going to want to give him the opportunity. And so I don't want to drop. I don't want to let go of him.
Think Lil Herbert factors into that as well. Um, Here I'm gonna stash Charbonnet. I
Yeah,
think he has the most upside out of that group. London or Watson?
London.
I'm gonna go London as well. Noni over on Twitch, Aaron Jones and Addison for Bijan. Is that worth it?
Oh, if you can give up Aaron Jones and Addison for Bijan, I'm probably going to do that. I might try to
Yeah,
get something like a secondary piece thrown into that. But just because if Aaron Jones bounces back, then it could end up being something that you're not super excited about. But right
right.
now, it's a great trade. But if you could get, and when I mean like a smaller piece, I'm talking about kind of like the stash running backs we've been talking about. Like if I could get like a Roshan or a Tyjae Spears or a Jalen Warren, somebody like that thrown in, I would, or even maybe like a Javante Williams who hasn't popped yet. You know, like somebody like that. Like I think you could try something like that and see if you can get a little bit more added in.
Yeah, I agree. TX, which two to bench? Wilson, Pickens, Jones, Javante, Foreman.
So I'm sitting Aaron Jones and I'm sitting Deonta Foreman.
Yes. Agreed. Got to mention Wilson. He's projected 14 fantasy points, so I start Rice in the flex over him still. I
So
think
don't
we're going
worry
to be
about
split.
projections. If you're talking about the ones that are like on ESPN or Yahoo or whatever you're playing, I don't care about those projections. Like that means nothing to me. What those projections mean. Now, if you're looking at something like a reputable, site or something like that, then okay. But I still I like Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, I like Rice here. But I'm Wilson would not be far behind for me either. So sorry for the answer, non-answer. Either way, I think you're in a good spot there. Acres or Singletary.
I'm gonna go with Singletary.
Really?
The matchup is fantastic against the Panthers. We know that, and even if like I said, I still expect Dameon Pierce to be the guy, but that's still only talking about a player that's probably seeing 55-60% of the snaps. Singletary's still going to get opportunity. And I just don't know what to expect from Cam Akers again this week. Like, was that a 1 week blip, or was that, and we can say the same thing about Singletary as well. Was that a 1 week blip, what we saw? And like I mentioned, there was reports that after that game that David Pierce suffered a little bit of a knee injury, and that's why he actually played less than he did. It wasn't because Devin Singletary just overtook him. But that being said, I still think I lean Devin Singletary based solely on matchup.
And having said what you said, sorry I couldn't help you there, Ashton. I don't mind Singletary this week either. I lean Akers. I think that could be the start of the takeover in Minnesota. Drop Jeff Wilson or Elijah Moore for Tank Dell. Yes.
I'm gonna drop Elijah Moore just because if something were to happen or Mostert, then Jeff Wilson steps into a pretty good spot. So
Jeff McClanahan, appreciate it. And subscribe. Thank you, Jeff. There was a probably don't know this. There's no reason for you to know this. There was a like a little grocery store, convenience store at Penn State called McClanahan's. Just thought everyone should know that. Who to bench between Wilson, Ridley, or Addison half PPR? And if the rest of you would also subscribe if you have yet to do so, be like Jeff. We would appreciate it. It helps us out a lot.
I'm gonna bench Calvin Ridley.
Oh, yeah. I'm with you. I don't like it. It makes me sad, but I'm with you. Cam Daddy, Pittman or London? Who has the bigger game / ceiling? Thinking about starting London over Pittman. If you're swinging for the fence, I would go London.
I think Putman. I think Pittman has the higher ceiling and the higher floor.
Okay. Split on that one. We've been split a lot tonight, Kev. One running back and one flex in a half-point tight end premium. Pierce, Hunt, Chark, Dawson, Logan Thomas.
So on this one, I am going to go with Dameon Pierce, and I'm going to go with at the flex. I'm going to go with Kareem Hunt.
I'm going to put Hunt and running back and Pierce at the flex. Waiver grab. JSN or Charbonnet?
I'm going to go with Charbonnet.
Yeah. If this is just a stash, I'm going to go Charbonnet. Once, it was obviously nice to see JSN pop off. We still don't know what this is going to look like going forward. I know that, even before Metcalf was injured, JSN, his playing time was trending up. That was also because they played a lot more 11 personnel than what they had been in the weeks leading up to that. Could that be a bye week switch they're making? For sure. But if anything were to happen to Ken Walker, Charbonnet becomes like a plug and play RB2, whereas like JSN is going to be more of like a hope and pray type of flex option.
The thing I'll say though about JSN, his routes didn't change. Like he still ran the same amount of routes that he ran previously. It was actually Bobo who jumped in and actually ran the most routes. Jake Bobo ran 86% of the routes last week with DK Metcalf out. So that didn't really change for JSN at all with DK Metcalf out. But obviously he did see a 29% target share, which is a little bit different from what he's been seeing. But I mean, JSN has seen like targets. It just hasn't been great for him. Like last week was the first game that he finally actually, 16 PPR points is, the best he's produced all year. But it is possible too. Maybe it's actually Tyler Lockett who ends up starting to. I mean, Lockett's not in their long term plans. Lockett is older, like where maybe eventually they switch to maybe give JSN a little more opportunities over Lockett because Lockett hasn't really been great this year either. But he's basically had two decent games this year so far. But yeah, and I'm surprised nobody has said a word that Santa was sitting back there. I kind of forgot he was even still sitting there, and I figured someone would be like, "What do you have Santa Claus up? Like it's not even November yet. Like Halloween's not even here yet." But it's funny because of why he's sitting there because people don't know if they're new here. Christmas is kind of a big deal for me. And actually next week get to bust. We'll bust it out. The Santa hat will be busted out. But I was trying to talk the wife into putting up the Christmas tree early. So when I got home from work, he was sitting in the garage. And I picked him up and I carried him inside. And I was like, "Hey, found somebody," you know. And so I sat him there and I completely forgot about it. And I just started when we went live. I was like, "Oh, take that down," and nobody said
Funny,
anything.
I saw it and like it never even crossed my mind that that was Santa. I don't know why. Like that to me was just like an object. I never.
And my 3-year-old was not like, she was like, not as excited about it as I thought.
She's
So then
three
my
already. Jesus,
yeah, she just turned 3. But
that's insane.
my my oldest, he's 12, obviously. Firefox. Then as soon as he saw that, he thought it was hilarious, and then started chasing around with it. So
Oh, nice.
yeah,
Well, there you have it.
I mean, we heard that too heading into the year, and that Bigsby was gonna have a role and all that stuff. Like, sure, I'll see it when I believe it. That's kind of what they said about him last year. They never really did it. I do think Bigsby should be rostered. I know a lot of people don't. So bro, I have said multiple times today to not play Reishi Rice. Thank you very much. Okay, and actually, when will Debro ever show up on the DFS DJ Nation show? Magic 8 Ball says fucking never, probably. Okay, we are eight weeks through the season, and you have yet to show up yet. Okay, quit dodging me there, Debro, with your "I'm writing the primer." Hey, 20,000 words. It shouldn't take you that long. Get it together. Okay, we've
Yeah,
been going this long enough. All right.
It's week 8, D bro. As much as I would love to just dump on Kev, I can get Kev's back on this one, D bro. He has recommended starting Garrett Wilson over Rasheed Rice plenty of times tonight. So
And Jason, yeah, I mean, I think it's possible that he trends down a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be something significant. But I do, like I was trying to say before Debro interrupted me, uh, that that Bigsby is worth a stash for sure. Like, and he could end up carving out a little bit more of a role. Maybe they do take a little bit off his plate because ETN has pretty much been an absolute workhorse. But I don't know if it's what does that mean? Does he play 60% of the snap, or does he drop down to 70% of the snaps? I don't think it's like he's going to all of a sudden start playing 55, 60% of the snaps. I still think he's going to be the guy, but I think you could see Bigsby mix in a little bit more. So
yeah.
I have not slept a Wednesday night this season. We go live on Thursday night, Debro. I don't know what Wednesday night has anything to do with me, okay? But Thursday night we go live. If you could carve out a little bit of your time to go live so with us, all right? Me and Maddie just hold it down over there, but you've yet to show up. So I don't know. You call yourself a friend, but I'm not seeing it. So
Wow.
I need you to show up. Show up for a show, okay? There, Debro.
Yeah, it's just,
And that being said, if you
you
haven't
go right
already,
for
go
the
check out
jugular.
Fantasy Pros and the primer that Debro does. It is very good. It is 20,000 words. Couldn't be me. There's no way I can sit down and want to write down 20,000 words, but major props to you for doing that. Like,
Yeah.
it is an incredible piece of content. Really, you don't really have to go look anywhere else for anything else. He pretty much puts everything in there that you need. So I would recommend that. So there you go, Debro. See, I can be nice and recommend your brand, even though you don't show up for us. So what I do. Try to put you over.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that looks like the last comment. So let's go ahead and get out of here. We'll be live Sunday morning to answer all the rest of your questions and get you ready for game day if any other news pops up. So we'll see you guys then in a very short period of time. What is that? What about less than 36 hours away? So,
Yep.
anyways, have a good night and have a good rest of the weekend. We'll see you Sunday morning. Bye-bye.